Streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Well, again, today on Regional Radio, we start the day taking a look at some of those precipitation totals as more rainfall rolled through the area yesterday. Just a third of an inch of rainfall here in the Clinton area of DeWitt County. About a half an inch of rainfall fell over by Farmer City in the northeast corner of DeWitt County. That is a total of about an inch and a fifth of precipitation over the last 4 days here in Clinton, and about an inch and a half over by Farmer City here in DeWitt County. We move to the north in the Bloomington Normal area. Rainfall totals from yesterday ranging from about 3/10 to a third of an inch of rainfall in the Bloomington Normal area, about 4/10 of an inch of rain in Hayworth, 3/10 of an inch of rain in Leroy. Between Leroy and Hayworth, just south of 136 at the DeWitt County line, about a half an inch of rainfall reported there from yesterday. The Aerosmith area of McLean County, about 4/10 of an inch of rain, 3/10 of an inch of rain in Ellsworth, just north of Bellflower along 54 in the southeast corner of McLean County. About a half an inch of rainfall reported there. Let's see, any other reports? No other reports this morning out of McLean County, but that is rainfall from yesterday. In total, precipitation since Sunday in the Bloomington Normal area ranging from about 9/10 to an inch. In the Bloomington Normal area of McLean County, about an inch and a tenth in Hayworth, just short of an inch of total precipitation in the Leroy area of McLean County. Again, between 136, around the 136 area, between Hayworth and Leroy, at the McLean-DeWitt County line, about an inch and 4/10 of total precipitation here in the last few days. Again, around the Bellflower area along 54, an inch and a tenth of total precipitation, and just outside of Ellsworth, about an inch of total precipitation in McLean County. Let's take a look at rainfall totals in Piatt County here for today. Just outside of Cisco, right at the western edge of Allerton Park, about a half an inch of rainfall reported in that area of Piatt County. In fact, about a half an inch of rain in total in Piatt County, one to the north and one to the south of Bemint in Piatt County. In total, about an inch and a half in Piatt County, about an inch and a third just north of Bemint, and an inch and a quarter just south of Bemint. There is a report of an inch and 2/3 of rainfall just north of the highway where Champaign and Piatt County meets. A couple of also along the county lines reports one of an inch very far northern Piatt County and an inch and a third in, again, far northern Piatt County as well. And again, those precipitation totals from the Sunday to Wednesday time frame here in central Illinois. A quick look at some of the rainfall totals from yesterday in Macon County. Warrensburg, about 4/10 of an inch of rainfall. Just south of Oriana along the highway, about a half an inch of rainfall. And in the south part of Decatur, also a half an inch of rainfall reported there. Rainfall totals around the Oriana area, about an inch and 6/10 since Sunday. Total precipitation, also an inch and 6/10 in the southern part of Decatur in total since Sunday. There is a report of an inch and a half of total precipitation since Sunday, where Logan, Macon, and Sangamon counties meet there in the far western portion of Macon County. So quite a bit of total precipitation the last few days. A lot of puddles in our front yard, at least here in central Illinois. About a third of an inch of rain in Lincoln and Logan County yesterday. About a third of an inch of rain in the Mount Pulaski area. The farther west you go, actually, in Logan County, about a half an inch of rainfall in New Holland from yesterday in far western Logan County. An inch and a tenth of total precipitation in Lincoln since Sunday. An inch and a quarter in the Mount Pulaski area along 54 in Logan County, I should say, from the last several days. Other reports of rainfall in central Illinois, looking at Champaign, reports ranging from about 0.4 to a half an inch of rain from yesterday in the Champaign-Urbana area. Same thing in Mahomet, about a half an inch of rainfall there, about 0.4 of an inch of rain in St. Joseph, 0.4 of an inch of rain in Rantoul, and just north of Fisher in far northern Champaign County, about 0.4 of an inch of rainfall there as well. In total, in the Champaign-Urbana area, reports ranging precipitation-wise 1 1/10, 1 1/4, 1 4/10. They just range in that area in the Champaign-Urbana area from the last several days of total precipitation. Mahomet ranging from 1 3/10, 1 4/10, and 1.5 inches. 1 1/10 in St. Joseph in Champaign County, about 1 1/10 in Rantoul. Let's see, in the far eastern portion of Champaign County around Homer, 1 1/3, 1 1/4 in Sidney, 1 1/4 in Philo, 1 1/3 in Sedoris in Champaign County. Total precipitation the last several days here in central Illinois. Yesterday, just about 1/10 of an inch of rainfall in the Peoria area of Peoria County and Tazewell County, but in total the last several days, about a half an inch of rainfall in that area of central Illinois. So, again, kind of depends on where you're at. Saw a lot of precipitation just in the last several days here in central Illinois. CocoRoz.org is where you can find all that information. You can find a range of dates. You can find precipitation. You can find snowfall, snowpack. It is all there. Again, it is CocoRoz.org. Let's get to the news here on this Thursday. The DeWitt County Board could be on its way to selling the Clinton Lake Marina in 2024. As the request for proposal process wraps up in the next month, DeWitt County Board Chair Dan Matthews indicates earlier this month they did a tour of the facility for some of the interested parties, and there's been a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah, so there is a lot going on with that right now as we're exploring options of how to best, manage the marina. So we've put out an RFP. We've got a lot of responses. We probably have, somewhere between 7 and 10 individuals or groups interested in the marina. So they've got that, picked up their RFP packets. We did a tour of the marina on, I think it was the 6th, Saturday the 6th. And we had maybe 7, 8, 9 different interested parties, a couple people just coming out to kind of feel it out a little bit. So we toured, the building and the docks. People were interested in the water source out there. How do we handle the sewage? So really asking questions that I think they're very interested in, pursuing potentially buying the marina. So we're excited. At least we're going to have lots of options. And some of the things that we heard from these people were the amount of space out there. So there's a couple people that own marinas now and run them at Shelbyville. And, they're just like, this building is huge. There's a lot we could do with this building. You have a lot of space. You have a lot of parking. There's land accompanying the dry land storage. There's a little bit of farm ground there that the power plant owns that, potentially they could lease, through the power plant, something with them on agreement. But so they were all excited about the opportunity of what could be done out there beyond what we have out there today.
Mm-hmm. Interested parties can continue to inquire about the marina until the middle of February when the RFP window closes. Matthews believes they're going to receive a lot of good bids on the property.
So we asked for questions, and we got a lot of good questions from the potential bidders that came in on Tuesday of this week. And our plan is to we have a special meeting next Monday night, get the answers back to the RFP group by the 26th, and then we're asking for the bids are due mid-February. I believe the 15th or 16th of February is when we would get the proposals in. And then I think we've talked before, just we hope to be able to narrow that down and, ultimately have a decision made whether we're going to sell the marina or, somehow run it differently than we have in the past before April 1st.
Ideally, Matthews would like to see the new owner of the marina ahead of the busy boating season, which would mean almost an early spring sale, and that would have to be approved by the full board.
Well, if the board ultimately decides that they want to sell it, which that's whatever we do through this process, and we get the RFPs, and maybe we narrow it to a couple people, and we meet and discuss some final types of things with the potential bidders. We would then take it to the full board for them to decide do we want to sell it, right? But we can't make that decision until we go through this process. Mm-hmm. So our hope is that if we are going to sell it, we want the new owner to be in there before boating season. Our boating season really kicks off, obviously, Memorial Day, but in the marina, people are getting their boats in May. By mid-May, towards the end of May, most of the boats are in their slips, and things are really starting to take off out there. So we would really like them to have as much time as they can to get in, get things prepared for the boating season, and then be able to take whatever path they're going to this first year. But it'd be getting in and just getting their feet underneath of them and understanding how everything runs at our marina, and move forward from there. But the sooner we get it done, if we do sell it, then we want them to have the best opportunity to have a good first year out there and be able to start developing it.
One of the appealing aspects of the marina that seems to appeal to potential bidders is the availability for growth and development. Matthews notes they're looking forward to hearing the ideas of potential developers in the next month. A major issue on one of its busiest roads has long been a focus for the city of Lincoln. Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch indicates 5th Street Road in Lincoln on the west side of town has been a difficult road to travel for many years, and for many years repairing it has been discussed, but never acted on.
Well, yeah, you were right. This has been going on for decades, really, over 20 years, and it's gone through different administrations and councils, but we're nearing the finish line on design of that. We got some meetings scheduled here coming up, but for the most part, I believe if all things go well, and knock on wood with that, we should be able to break some ground. I don't think we're going to be able to do it in 24. It'll probably happen in spring of 25, obviously subject to change, but we have to go through a number of agencies, the state of Illinois, to get approval for the design and the material and the approach of the project. So, but it's all good. And what that then leads us into is it's got to be paid for. So council, I've already given them kind of a brief heads up, but council will be having to have a discussion and make some decisions on funding for that project.
At one point in the last few years, there was the opportunity for a multi-million-dollar renovation of a very worn-down stretch of 5th Street Road. Mayor Welch explains that is no longer on the table, and now the city has to make some decisions on what to prioritize in its repair.
The design's changed over the last several years. Initially, the design was the Cadillac of all roads. It was a double wide with a turn lane in the center, and that set us off on a journey to acquire property down that corridor so that we could do the widening of the road. There was a bike path. Well, over time, the future vision of that road, I don't think the most recent councils believe that is necessarily the future vision, but the one thing we do know is the people that live out there and use that road every day deserve a good road, just like the people in town. I think we've come up with a scaled back design. The bike path won't be there initially. Maybe in the future, it's probably going to be a little more narrow than a 2 or 3 lane wide design. But that's where we're at. It won't require as many parcels. So we did go through and acquire some parcels that maybe we won't need, and we'll figure out what to do with those once we get everything finalized.
Mayor Welch says even though it's moving slowly, he believes they'll continue to make progress towards groundbreaking, and again says that will likely come in 2025. News time is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Thursday. Plenty more to get to coming up on the WHOW Morning Show.
We are celebrating winter here at Baum Chevrolet Buick. This is Scott Baum in Clinton and Farmer City. Start the new year off with a new Chevy Silverado. We have the right Silverado to get your hauling and towing jobs done, like our 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s in gas or diesel with several trim levels, custom, LT, LTZ, or even high country. Celebrate winter today. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Thursday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker marked the anniversary of Roe v. Wade this week, saying Illinois will remain a safe place for women seeking abortions and reproductive care. Governor Pritzker says women from neighboring states that have had their rights to choose taken away are coming to Illinois.
Women who are in Missouri or in Indiana who have an ectopic pregnancy or have some other challenge within their with their health care related to reproductive health, and their lives are on the line. And we need to make sure that we are the ones here in Illinois that are helping to save their lives.
Governor Pritzker says abortion access will be a major part of the upcoming presidential campaign. With temperature swings and frozen precipitation ravaging area roadways this winter, an IDOT engineer says there is no shortage of potholes on state roads. Joe Monroe says crews are staying busy making repairs to their highways since the frozen precipitation and the freeze-thaw cycle has caused some noticeable damage. He talks about how the freeze-thaw cycle creates potholes.
Whenever you get obscene cold followed by a quick warm-up mixed in with moisture, it's a recipe for potholes for us. By and large, we would expect the rest of the week to be fighting potholes and trying to seal up areas of distress.
If you see an area of the state highway that needs attention, call your IDOT yard to report it. Locally, your town's street or public works department works as well. Ameren, Illinois has received national recognition for their emergency response to last June's derecho, which left more than 200,000 customers without power. Patrick Smith, from the Ameren, Illinois, says the company is honored to have received the Emergency Response Award from the Edison Electric Institute.
Yes, just being recognized, and we don't necessarily. Obviously, it's not about the awards, but being recognized is always nice. I can tell you when you're in it, your focus is, we tell ourselves and we tell our customers, we power the quality of life for millions. It's not just us, but it's other utilities. And one of the things, when they don't have that energy, it's an issue for us as much as it is for them. And so winning the award is definitely gratifying, but it's really about getting those customers on as quickly as possible. And, something that's really important is that it's not something that you really, you kind of muster up and do when you're faced with that. But we do a lot when the skies are blue, when it's not raining, when the wind's not blowing. So just a lot of investments in the grid. Because when you're talking about winds of 100 miles an hour, it's not just utility poles or towers or electrical infrastructure being damaged, but it's everything. And we've done a lot to build resiliency into our system, automate our grid so that we can bring as many customers as possible back even before our coworkers hit the field. So yeah, we're really excited that has been recognized, and we're even more excited that we were able to get our customers back on in a timely fashion, and that the investments that we made in the grid really paid off.
Last June's derecho cut a path across multiple states, with Illinois among the hardest hit. Illinois and the nation are in the midst of a local journalism crisis, with news outlets closing or shrinking at an alarming rate. State Senator Steve Stadelman and the members of the Local Journalism Task Force spent the last year studying the decline of local journalism and outlined its findings and policy recommendations at a news conference last week.
News outlets are closing or shrinking at an alarming rate because of technological and financial disruption. Illinois has lost 232 newspapers since 2005. 5 of Illinois' 102 counties have no local source of news, and 33 rely on just one single source of news. It hurts the fabric of these communities and the democratic process. Task Force members believe an informed citizenry is essential to the health of our local governments, both national and local. Reliable information is becoming endangered, and too often misinformation on social media is taking its place. The task force believes there are things state government can do to help improve the finances of local news outlets and incentivize the hiring of local reporters. I think one line in the final report really describes the situation perfectly. The local news crisis isn't just a business problem, it's a democracy problem as well.
Stadelman, a former TV news anchor, chaired the local journalism task force. Representatives from media, academia, and government met nearly a dozen times throughout the previous calendar year to study the decline of local media, its impact on democracy, and potential policy changes that could increase revenue to newsrooms across the state. Hearing from several experts from across both the state and nation, the task force saw a common theme. Independent local news reporting is vital, and the lack of it is dangerous to the health of our democracy. According to the Medill research, the Chicago area is among the 20 U.S. metro areas with the highest loss of news sources per capita, yet the decline in rural parts of the state is even worse. With its findings, the task force outlined several policy recommendations, including subscription tax credits, grant programs, fellowships, and more. Stadelman plans to bring forth legislation this session to improve the financial situations of local newsrooms. Illinois Treasurer Mike Frerichs proudly announced that the Illinois State Treasurer's Office achieved $1.33 billion in investment earnings from the state's investment portfolio through the year 2023. Additionally, an outstanding $978.8 million in gross investment earnings was generated for various local entities, including cities, villages, school districts, and counties participating in the highly regarded Illinois Funds Local Government Investment Pool operated by the State Treasurer's Office. Treasurer Frerichs spoke on the positive impact of these earnings on communities and stating that every dollar the Treasurer's Office makes through the smart investing is a dollar that does not need to be raised in taxes for Illinois cities, counties, and schools, which means they have more money for public safety, road maintenance, and teaching materials, as well as other programs vital to communities across the state. As the state's chief investment and banking officer, Treasurer Frerichs oversees both the state investment portfolio and the Illinois Funds Investment Pool for local government units. He addressed the office's commitment to being a part of the solution to the state's challenges, acknowledging the limitations but emphasizing the positive contribution they can make. The detailed breakdown of the investment earnings in 2023 reveals the Treasurer's Office earned nearly $1.33 billion for the state investment portfolio, with December contributing $122.4 million. The interest rate earned the state investment portfolio in December was an impressive 4.6%. News brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. On the heels of his win in the New Hampshire primary, former President Trump is due back in a courtroom in New York today. A civil defamation trial set to resume. Mr. Trump expected to testify. President Biden gets an endorsement from Big Labor, the leadership of the 400,000-member United Auto Workers Union, officially backing Mr. Biden. Refusing to back down in his drive to secure the southern border, Texas Governor Greg Abbott accusing President Biden of refusing to enforce immigration law and even violating those laws. Abbott argues that the state has the constitutional authority to defend itself against what amounts to an invasion of the state. Stock futures mixed at the moment on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow futures are down 35 points. NASDAQ futures 33 points higher, and the S&P futures are up 4 points. More details, srnnews.com.
You know, it's true.
With SRN Sports, I'm Michael Harrington. We'll start with NFL news. Jim Harbaugh is now the head coach of the L.A. Chargers. He leaves Michigan after capping his 9th season as coach of college football's winningest program with the school's first national title since 1997. In the NBA, Vince Williams Jr. scored 25 last night, lead the Grizzlies in double figures at a 105-96 downing of the Heat.
G.G. Jackson, the second, finished with 17 points, and fellow backup Scottie Pippen Jr. added 15 for Memphis, which hit 17 of its 36 three-point attempts. Williams was 5 of 6 from downtown and 8 of 10 overall. Tyler Hero paced Miami with 18 points, 3 more than Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Caleb Martin. The Heat have dropped 4 in a row.
That's correspondent Dave Ferry. Elsewhere yesterday, it was the Pistons over Charlotte, 113-106. Minnesota 118, the Wizards 107. The Bucks got the better of Cleveland 126-116. This is SRN Sports. More NBA Finals for you. Portland needed overtime to beat the Rockets 137-131. Phoenix 132, Dallas 109. It was OKC over San Antonio 140-114. Golden State 134 and Atlanta 112. Doc Rivers is finalizing a deal to take over as the Bucks coach a day after the firing Adrian Griffin. They fired Griffin on Tuesday despite a 30-13 record. Milwaukee 3.5 games behind Boston in the Eastern Conference standings at last check. In the National Hockey League yesterday, we had Toronto beating Winnipeg 1-0 in overtime. Florida 6, Arizona 2. It was Carolina downing the Bruins 3-2, while Colorado went over the Capitals 6-2. Blues 4, Canucks 3 in overtime. The Kraken beat the Blackhawks 6-2. Sabres 5 and the Kings 3. AP Top 25 College Basketball, number 8.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Cerro Gordo used a big fourth quarter to get by Blue Ridge 55-47 in Lincoln Prairie Conference Tournament boys basketball action from Arthur Wednesday night. The Knights were up 35-34 heading to the final frame, but the Broncos outscored them 21-12 to pull out the victory. Isaac Price led Blue Ridge with 13 points. Zach Lewis added 12. The Knights dropped to 12-8 overall and have been eliminated from the Lincoln Prairie Conference Tournament. They return to action Tuesday night hosting Okaw Valley in a Lincoln Prairie Conference matchup. Monticello was able to hold off Rantoul despite a slow fourth quarter and came away with an Illini Prairie Conference win, a 48-39 victory in high school girls basketball action from Rantoul Wednesday night. Maya High had 14 points and 8 rebounds to lead Monticello. Allie Widener added 10 points for the Lady Sages, leading 22-15 at the break. Monticello used a 20-11 third quarter to go up 26 after 3, and the Lady Sages were outscored 13-6 in the final frame, but held on against the Lady Eagles. Monticello improves to 8-14 overall, picking up its first Illini Prairie Conference win to go to 1-3 in league play. Boo Buoy scored 29 points. Brooks Barnheiser had 23, and Northwestern knocked off 10th-ranked Illinois 96-91 Wednesday night in overtime. The 14-5 Wildcats scored the first 9 points of the extra session after Illinois' Marcus Damask missed a jumper at the end of regulation. They got some payback, too, after Illinois beat them by 30 on January 2nd without star guard Terrence Shannon Jr. in a game that featured 18 lead changes and 15 ties. Northwestern finally took control in overtime. Bowie put the Wildcats on top with a three-pointer. Barnheiser hit one from the corner and was fouled by Quincy Guerrier, making the free throw to complete the 4-point play. Matthew Nicholson put back a missed layup by Bowie following a steal to make it 85-76 with 2:35 left, and the Wildcats remained in control the rest of the way. Northwestern knocked off a top 10 team for the second time this season to go with an overtime stunner against then top-ranked Purdue at Welsh Ryan Arena on December 1st. This one came on the heels of a loss at Nebraska on Saturday. Coleman Hawkins had 22 points and 13 rebounds for Illinois. Damask also had 22, and Guerrier scored 15 points with 11 rebounds, but Shannon had a rough time in his second game back since a federal judge ordered Illinois last week to lift the suspension it handed down in the wake of a rape charge in Kansas. Shannon was hearing it from the Northwestern fans who chanted "no means no" throughout the game. He finished with 12 points while shooting just 1 of 5 from 3. Bowie finished 2 points shy of his season high and had 7 assists. Barnheiser, who scored a career-best 24 in the loss at Nebraska, made 4 3-pointers. Ty Berry scored 14 points and hit 3 threes to help Northwestern win for the third time in 4 games and improve to 10-1 at home. Illinois out-rebounded the Wildcats 46-32, but had just 19 second-chance points to show for 21 offensive rebounds. The Illini look to improve to 11-2 at home when they meet Indiana on Saturday. Braden Shen scored at a minute 54 of overtime to give the St. Louis Blues a 4-3 win over the Vancouver Canucks on Wednesday night. Jake Neighbors had a goal and an assist for St. Louis. Alex Toropchenko and Pavel Buchnevich scored. Joel Hofer made 29 saves. Pius Suter had his second career hat trick for Vancouver exactly 3 years after his first. Quinn Hughes and Brock Bozer contributed 2 assists apiece, and Casey DeSmith had 14 stops for Vancouver. Suter scored 3 times in the third period to push the game to overtime. He tied it with 52 seconds left in regulation after a shot rebounded off J.T. Miller's skate, allowing the Swiss forward to bat home the puck. Suter pulled the Canucks within 1 on a power play at 5:42 of the third after Hofer missed the puck behind the net. The Blues will visit the Kraken on Friday night. Jared McCann scored his 19th goal of the season early in the first period. Joey Decord made 34 saves, and the Seattle Kraken handed Chicago its 18th straight road loss with a 6-2 win over the Blackhawks Wednesday night. Seattle snapped a 4-game losing streak and added to Chicago's misery away from home. The 18 straight road losses are tied for the 4th longest single-season streak in NHL history, along with Pittsburgh, Quebec, and San Jose. Decord was a big reason as he continued his stretch of stellar play in net. He's allowed 2 goals or fewer in 14 of his last 17 starts. He robbed Jason Dickinson with a glove save on a Chicago power play in the first period, but he saved his best stops for the third. Decord stymied former teammate Ryan Donato on a breakaway, which led to a breakaway for Seattle that Tomas Tatar finished for his 5th of the season and a 5-2 Seattle lead. Decord denied Mackenzie Entwistle with a stick save a couple minutes later. Tatar scored twice in the third period. Eberle and Justin Schultz both had assists. Tatar now has 9 points in 16 games since being acquired by Seattle. Arvid Soderblom had 23 saves for the Blackhawks. Joey Anderson scored late in the first for Chicago, redirecting a Seth Jones shot from the blue line past Decord. Nick Foligno had a power play goal 39 seconds into the third period for his 9th goal of the season, putting Chicago up 4-2. The Blackhawks are at Edmonton on Thursday night. Get sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWitt Daily News.